Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Welcome to UPSC Warriors. This is our class 2 for Polity. Just let me know in the comment section if the audio and video is working fine. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. Welcome to UPSC. Let me know if the audio and video is working fine. Radhika, the session has started. Can you see or hear me? This is our class 2 for Polity. And the topic we are going to discuss today is Preamble. Okay, working fine. Okay, so once again, my name is Monica and welcome to UPSC Warriors by Unacademy. We are gonna discuss Preamble today. This is the Polity series where we are gonna begin with important aspects or important articles of the Constitution. Yesterday we discussed about Constituent Assembly because it all started from there, and today we are gonna discuss Preamble, the very preface of the Constitution. So before we move forward, I'm going to discuss the plan for Polity on this channel. It's pretty simple. We'll have daily live classes. The duration of the live classes is expected to be around 45 minutes, 30 minutes to 45 minutes. The timing most probably is going to be 8:30 p.m. But if there are any changes with respect to the timing, I'll let you know. Then we'll cover important articles of the Constitution. We'll start from Article 1. But before that, we have already discussed about Constituent Assembly. And today we are going to discuss Preamble. And then we'll start with Article 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to discuss few articles every day with you. Along with that, I'll cover important current affairs as well, so that you get the wholesome coverage of the syllabus. All the important topics of yours get covered, so that you will be ready for prelims as well as mains. And this channel will be beneficial for those who are starting their UPSC journey, UPSC preparation for 2025 years, 2026, and also for those who are planning to brush up their knowledge of polity. They've already studied polity and they are just using YouTube as a revision. So these will be beneficial for you also. And for today's video and for today's session, I've included PYQs also. At the end of the video and in mid of the session, we'll discuss some PYQs. Those PYQs are mostly related to the topic I've already discussed. Some are from Constituent Assembly and some are from Preamble. So if you haven't watched my video on Constituent Assembly, after this session you can certainly watch it and it will be very beneficial to you. And let's begin then. So the topic for today is Preamble of the Constitution. Before I tell you about the importance of the Preamble, I'm gonna discuss one anecdote or one interesting fact that happened in year 2023. So listen to me carefully. In the year 2023, Karnataka government made it compulsory for the students in schools and colleges to read Preamble daily. Now you must be wondering that what's the purpose of this initiative? You are reading Preamble daily. Now I haven't shared what Preamble is. I don't know what is. I haven't shared it with you that what is written in that. But I am sharing a fact where Karnataka government made students of your schools and universities to read Preamble daily. And the rationale behind that was pretty simple. They want the students or the population in general to be aware about the ideals of our Constitution. Our Constitution maker had certain objectives, had certain vision with respect to India's future, and they have incorporated all of it in our Constitution. So the Karnataka government wanted students to be aware of the ideals and the principles of our Constitution. A similar initiative had already been taken by Maharashtra government, but they have limited it to primary and secondary school students, and they want them to recite Preamble every day in the assembly itself. So the idea remains similar, that Preamble is an important document which contains ideals and principles which our constitution makers wanted India to have. So it is that. And one more rationale behind this initiative was to make people understand about their constitutional responsibilities. There are certain responsibilities which people should be aware of. So preamble includes ideals and principles, and to make people aware of what India should look like, this is the document you need to refer. So this is the interesting fact which you can use in your answers as well, that Karnataka and Maharashtra government are using it. Moving forward, I haven't shared anything, I'm just sharing an interesting fact which happened, and this happened in the year 2023. So still today people find preamble as a very significant document. Moving forward, let us discuss what preamble is. Now we are coming to the conceptual part of it, what preamble is, when it was amended, and what does it signify. So preamble is in general is an introduction or preface to the constitution. Introduction or preface to the constitution, it is like what ideals and principles to expect out of it, what our Indian constitutional values are, it is written in this document. So some other people also call it as identity card of our constitution. So these are general names these are general adjectives which are used for preamble. Pretty straightforward, it is introduction or preface to the constitution. Then the first initiative of creating a preamble was taken by America. American constitution is the first one to have preamble. So we can say that India got the thought of adding preamble through American constitution. We can say that. So India also has preamble, and American constitution was the first one to have it. Then I have mentioned about this yesterday also. Can someone in the comment section tell me when was objectives resolution introduced? Or if you are not remembering the exact date or the year, can you tell me who introduced objectives resolution in Constituent Assembly? Can I know the name? Hello, Article 312, good evening. Article 312 said that he want PPT of the class. You can join our Telegram channel, where I'll be sharing you about the updates of the classroom program, and eventually I'll let you know if the PPT sharing thing can happen. So for the Telegram channel, the link is in the description itself. You can join the Telegram channel there. Now answer my question. Who introduced objectives resolution in the Constituent Assembly? Come on, guys. Do we have an answer or not? Very good, Meenal. We got answer from Meenal. 13th December, Jawaharlal Nehru introduced objective resolution. Very nice, Meenal. Good work there. So, for people who are not aware of it, watch my previous video. You will understand what I am talking about. Objectives resolution was introduced by Jawaharlal Nehru in the Constituent Assembly in the year. Meenal, you didn't mention the year. I'm writing it. It was introduced by Jawaharlal Nehru in the year 1946. And 13th December 1946, Jawaharlal Nehru introduced objectives resolution. It was accepted or adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 22nd January 1947. So within a month, the Constituent Assembly acted on it, and they have accepted this objectives resolution, and this objective resolution is gonna become the preamble of Indian Constitution. So it is a very significant document. You can see from the name itself, it shows the objectives what we want India to have. So this is the objective resolution. Preamble has been amended only once. Only once preamble has been amended, and it was in the year 1976. And the name of the constitutional amendment is 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. If you find it difficult to remember the year of this amendment, the trick is pretty simple. If you can remember the number 42nd, then you can add 4 plus 2 is 6, and here we have the year 1976. At that time, Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister of the country, and she added a few words in the preamble itself. So preamble has been amended only once, and we have added 3 words in it. So I am assuming this far we have understood everything. Preamble is the introduction or preface of the Constitution. Objective resolution became preamble, and it was amended only once. Now we haven't discussed what is written in the preamble so far. we have introduced we have discussed what preamble is and how many times it has been amended. That's it. We haven't discussed anything about what's written in it. So moving forward, let us see what's written in the preamble. What is so significant that Karnataka government want its people to know the ideals and principles behind it? So it's pretty straightforward document. It's a small document also. Preamble says, we the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. These are the words which we are going to discuss in today's class. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. I'm going to make you understand these words one by one. What does it mean? We the people of India, and these are the words, these are the adjectives which we use for India, and these are the principles which we want to incorporate. Justice, liberty, equality, fraternity. And then at the end, in our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, it is giving us a date, 26 November 1949, where we adopt, enact and give to ourselves this constitution. So this is the date of acceptance of our constitution, 26 November 1949. This is the same date which we celebrate as Constitutional Day, and it started in 2015. So this is the date and the year where we accepted our constitution, partially enacted the constitution also at that time. The Republic Day is celebrated on 26 January, but this is the partial acceptance or the partial adoption of constitution happened on this date. Now we have just read the text of the preamble. We haven't understood a single word yet. We are just reading the text. It starts with we the people of India. We the people of India here signifies the source of authority for the constitution. Constitution derives its power from where? From us, we the people of India. So we the people of India signifies the source of authority. Having solemnly resolved, this word means that we have came together to give ourselves what? An India which is sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. These are 5 adjectives which we use to define India. One by one we'll understand what that means, but here I need to point out that I've told you that 42nd constitutional amendment, in 42nd constitutional amendment we have added 3 words, out of which these are the 2 words which we added, socialist and secular. Earlier it was sovereign, democratic republic. We added socialist and secular as well. Then these are the objectives which we want to achieve. What we want to achieve? Justice in our country. Justice may be, the words are social, economic and political justice which we want to achieve. We want liberty. Liberty of what? Thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. We want equality. Equality of status, of opportunity. We want fraternity in the country. Here another word, I said 3 words, so 2 were these and third one was this. Unity was, integrity was added later on by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So these 3 words were added. If you remove these 3 words, it will be the preamble before 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. And it includes the date of adoption of the Constitution, which is 26 November 1949. I hope it is clear so far. We have seen the text and we have seen what all the preamble includes. I've highlighted the keywords here. We the people of India. The people of India is the source of authority. These are the nature of India. Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. These are the objectives which we want our country to achieve, which we still want, or some of them have already been achieved through laws, but the execution could differ from place to place, from community to community. So these are the objectives which we want to achieve, and at the end this is the date for the adoption, enactment of the Constitution, 26 November 1949. We need to remember this date because I'll give you a PYQ where we'll use it. These are the ingredients. Are we all on the same page so far? If we are, then solve this question for me. This is a PYQ from 2021. What was the exact constitutional status of India on 26th January 1950? What was the exact constitutional status of India on 26th January 1950? This question was asked in UPSC in the year 2021. Come on guys, it's a very simple question. You need to focus on the word exact here. Even though you don't understand the meaning of sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, it's fine. The answer lies in what is written in the preamble. And you need to remember the date also, 26 January 1950. Can you give me the answer here? What was the exact constitutional status of India? The answer lies in the previous slide. Okay, Article 312 has given me the answer B. Do rest of the audience agrees with the answer? You need to remember the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act and the year in which it was implemented. 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act was in the year 1976 and we added 3 words in it. What were the 3 words? Okay, Priya also answered B. Hello, Priya. The words which were added in 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act were secular and socialist. So clearly in 1976 these words were added. So these 2 options get eliminated. Were we sovereign in the year 1950? Okay, a lot of people are giving me answer B, and B is the correct answer because we were sovereign in 1950. So from preamble itself, even though we don't understand any of the word here, even though we are not aware of what it means, we can solve the question if we remember the text and the dates. So the answer is B, a sovereign democratic republic, because we were secular. We were already secular, but the word here is exact. So it was not clearly mentioned. It was implied in the constitution that we are secular country. So here we can eliminate these 2 options. We were sovereign, so the better choice is B. B is the correct answer. Very good guys. Keep the morale high. Now we are going to discuss the terms or keywords of the preamble. The first keyword which we saw was sovereign, and I'm going to start with this only. India fought for sovereignty. Like our entire freedom struggle was about getting sovereign status only. Now sovereign, what's the meaning of the word sovereign? Sovereign means supreme. Supreme can be used for anything. There can be parliament sovereignty, there can be constitutional sovereignty, there can be supremacy. We had British supremacy or British paramountcy also. The sovereign means supreme. You have the ultimate control. You don't have to ask anyone else or any other authority or any other's approval for executing your own functions. Sovereign means that if a country is sovereign, it doesn't need approval from any external or foreign power to conduct its affair. India was not sovereign during Britishers' time. India was a colony of Britishers. So sovereign means supreme or paramount. It can be used for multiple things. We'll understand parliament supremacy or sovereignty or constitutional sovereignty in today's lecture only. So sovereign means supreme or paramount. Sovereignty is of 2 types in general, internal and external sovereignty. Internal sovereignty means that the state or the country has control over its domestic affairs. It can make laws, it can control its internal affairs or governance schemes and stuff. It has freedom to do that. So internal sovereignty means that. External sovereignty is sovereignty when it comes to establish diplomatic relations. You don't need any approval from the foreign power. That is external sovereignty. You can declare war by yourself. You can conduct your defense affairs by yourself. You can conduct your diplomatic affairs by yourself. It all includes in External sovereignty. If you have full control over your internal affairs, internal sovereignty. If you can maintain your diplomatic relations and declare wars and stuff, external sovereignty. So sovereignty in general means supreme powers. Without any external control, you don't need anyone's approval. We have understood the type of sovereignty also, internal and external sovereignty. Here we need to understand two more terms, dependency and dominion. Dependency means colony. That country controls everything of yours, like your resources, your decision making things, this country controls. So India was a dependency before Indian Independence Act 1947. We were a colony of Britishers, so we were a dependency. Sovereignty happened after 1950. We were dominion for a brief also. So after Indian Independence Act 1947 and before 26 January 1950, India was dominion. Now understand what dominion means. Dominion simply means that allegiance to crown. The simplest meaning of dominion is we owe our allegiance to crown. Rest of the matter is within us also. For the head of the state, we assume that crown is the head of the state. This happened because India had a political vacuum at the time. We fought for our sovereignty. We didn't want to accept dominion status, but for the time brief, we accepted dominion status, and the reason for it was because we didn't have a head of the state. And we were figuring out that how we want our head of the state to be elected, how we want our people to be represented when it comes to electing the head of the state. By head of the state, today India has president as the head of the state. So we were not very sure how we want the elections to happen, how we want our democracy to look like. And until and unless we decide on that fact, we accepted the allegiance of the crown. And that's why we accepted for a very brief time the status of dominion. As soon as our constitution came in existence, as soon as we accepted our constitution, India became sovereign. We announced our sovereignty in the preamble itself. That is, we are free from any external interference. We are our own decision makers and we have the supreme power to decide on the fate of India. So for the very brief time, India was dominion until unless our constitution came into existence. And then after our constitution came into existence, we broke our allegiance to the crown and we became what? We became sovereign. So we were dependency also, we were dominion also, and then ultimately we became sovereign. This word also came with respect to the criticism of Constituent Assembly, where I told you that Constituent Assembly was not a sovereign body initially because it was formed by the order of British government. Cabinet mission was the one because of which the Constituent Assembly was formed. So it was not a sovereign body initially. It became sovereign after India became independent. That is Indian Independence Act 1947. After that, it became sovereign. So hopefully you guys are getting the meaning of the words dependency, dominion and sovereign. You also understood the types of sovereignty, which are internal sovereignty and external sovereignty. Now you have also understood why India for the time brief accepted dominion status, because we wanted to avoid what? Political vacuum. We don't want the governance vacuum. So we accepted the allegiance to the crown. As soon as our Constituent Assembly accepted the constitution, we became sovereign. Now the important question is, does India have parliament sovereignty? Sovereignty in the simplest word means supreme. So does in India we have parliament supremacy? What parliament says goes. Is it the fact in India? Do we have parliament sovereignty? Come on, answer it in the comment section. Do we have parliament sovereignty? Okay, Article 312 is saying that the class is lagging. Is it the case? Is the class lagging? And if it is working fine, answer me this. Do India have parliament sovereignty? Okay, it's not lagging, it's working fine. So moving forward, do India have parliament sovereignty? The answer is no. Whatever parliament says, we don't accept. The constitution, we follow constitutional sovereignty. Whatever is written in the constitution, we accept that. Parliament can be controlled through Supreme Court. A lot of times it has happened that Supreme Court has declared the acts or the amendments made by the constitution or the laws made by the parliament as unconstitutional. So we don't follow parliament sovereignty. Britain follows parliament sovereignty. So now that you have understood the word of the meaning of the word sovereign, you must have answered this one clearly, that parliamentary sovereignty is not the case in India. We follow constitutional sovereignty, and that constitution is also can be amended through parliament. So in a nutshell, we don't follow parliament sovereignty. Okay, it's working fine. Moving forward, now that you have understood the word sovereign, the next word was socialist. It was added through 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976. Similarly, the word secular was added through an amendment. So initially they were not there. We follow democratic socialism and not communistic socialism. These are heavy words. I haven't explained you any of those. So the word socialism was introduced by Karl Marx. He is a political thinker whose area of study lies in the inequality which existed at the time. Inequality still exists. So for him, he was like, why some people have so many wealth and income and why some people are so vulnerable. So to make the society change or to come up with a solution, his solution was, let us abolish the concept of private property altogether, because private property is the source of inequality and it is the source of exploitation for people. So he asked for the abolishment of private property and let the ownership be communal. Everyone owns everything. That kind of an idea he had. And that idea led to this concept, communistic socialism, where community owns everything and the concept of private property is not there. The more you study Karl Marx, the more you realize that there is difference between socialism and communism. But for the time being, we don't need to understand that. We can simply assume that in communistic socialism, the idea of private property is frowned upon. We don't appreciate the concept of private property. And what we want is, we want communal ownership of the resources where everyone owns everything and no one owns anything. That kind of a concept Karl Marx had. So India clearly doesn't have that concept because we still have the concept of private property. We have our private land, private resources, private houses. So clearly we didn't accept this communalism, this socialism or communism. Communistic socialism, India doesn't follow. We have our own model of socialism, which is democratic socialism. In democratic socialism, what we do is there is coexistence of private as well as public properties. We allow both of the sectors to coexist. As and when need arise, we can declare something as a public resource. For example, nationalization of bank happened because we felt that the private ownership of banks were exploitative to people. So we believe in coexistence of public and private property. So that is our model of socialism. What we call it is democratic socialism. We don't follow communistic socialism, where there is complete abolition of private property. If you if you see the world around us, you will see that private property pretty much exists in every country. So no one follows this communistic socialism idea completely. What we follow, what India follows, is democratic socialism, and this word was added in an amendment. The next concept is secular. Again, India has its own definition of secularism also. We don't follow what Western secularism used to be. We follow Indian secularism. So let us understand what is the meaning of Western secularism. In Western secularism, what happens is, if you consider it as state and this as religion, so if we draw a Venn diagram, then state doesn't interfere in the areas of religion, or religion doesn't interfere when it comes to states matter. They maintain their distance, and this is what secularism means in the Western countries. State remains in its own line, religion remains in its own line. In India, we don't follow this concept because in India, we appreciate the religious diversity we have, and state wants to maintain this diversity, and state invest in the religious affairs also. So Indian secularism is all religions have same status and support from the state. So state interferes in the affairs of religion, and it is Indian secularism where we favor every state, every religion equally. We don't have a favorite religion or an official religion. We consider and respect every religion equally. That is what our case is. So in India's case, there are not acute disconnect between state and religion. We accept the interference of state and religion in each other's affairs, and that is what Indian secularism means. We doesn't favor any particular religion. For example, there are schemes, religious schemes which operate and government invest in those schemes. For example, there is a Geo Parsi scheme which is for Parsi community. Then Hajj Yatra also, government helps financially to Hajj Yatris. So these are the things where state and religion overlap in India. So Indian secularism is different than Western secularism. Hope you have understood the concepts. Both of these concepts were introduced in the amendment. You need to remember that India was always a secular country, even though the word was explicitly mentioned in the amendment, but it was already, and it was always implied. For instance, we have a fundamental right regarding the freedom of religion. So India was always secular. The word specifically was mentioned in 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. So far so good, guys. Okay. I've got some new viewers also, random reviews. Hello. Kanupriya, hello. And Shiv Kumar sir, thank you for asking the aspirants to share this video. If you know anyone who could be benefited from this lecture, do ask them to join the class. Now moving forward, we need to understand few more keywords. We have understood sovereign, secular and socialist. Now we are understanding democratic and republic. India is a democracy, we all know that. So here the sovereignty is of popular sovereignty, that is people are sovereign, people are supreme, whatever people want goes. So India is a democracy where power lies with people. There are two sorts of democracy, direct and indirect democracy. Direct democracy means that people directly decides on everything. On the other hand, in indirect democracy, there is a layer where people decides, their representatives who ultimately decide their fate. So India is indirect democracy clearly because for a large country it's not possible to involve this many people or this much population for every decision making. So we went for a representative democracy or indirect democracy where we select our representatives who makes decision for us. So democratic also, India is a democracy where we have indirect democracy. We elect our representatives who make laws for us. Then the next word we are going to discuss is republic. It's a pretty simple word. For a country to be called republic, its head of the state should be directly or indirectly elected. The position of head of the state should not be hereditary. If the position of head of the state is hereditary, then it's monarchy. Now you tell me, Britain is a monarchy or a republic country? Britain is a monarchy or a republic country? Let me know. India is a republic country where head of the state is elected directly or indirectly by people. Head of the state is president in case of India. Head of the state is president and Britain is monarchy. That's correct. Britain is monarchy. So now we have discussed all the 5 terms which were written. We have some objectives to be discussed, but we'll discuss it in the next class. Before that, we'll do some PYQs. So gear up, guys. And if you have any doubt regarding the keywords which we have discussed, do let me know in the comment section. We'll discuss them again if you want it, or you can just re-watch this video and it will be beneficial for you. Now the question is here. The mind of the makers of the Constitution of India is reflected in which of the following? It was asked in 2017 UPSC Prelims. Can you answer me this one? It's a very simple question, let me tell you. The mind of the makers of the Constitution of India is reflected in which of the following? Read the options. And I'm telling you it's a simple question because I haven't told you about the rest of the three options. So pretty straightforward question, I guess. Okay, I got answer from Meenal. The answer is A only. The mind of the makers of the Constitution is reflected in our preamble. The objective resolution, clearly. Okay, moving forward, the next question is, which one of the following objective is not embedded in the preamble of the Constitution of India? Which of the following was not written in the preamble of the Constitution of India? Now we haven't discussed, if you notice, all the options have word liberty. We haven't discussed what liberty means. So if you can just guess what must not be written in this thing. Okay, Rahul also answered preamble. Yeah, it was right answer for the previous question. In this case, what is the answer? These are the exact words written in the preamble: thought, expression, belief. But economic liberty is not written in the preamble. So the correct option is economic liberty. It is not mentioned in our preamble. Okay, Meenal is right. Article 312 has answered it wrong. Liberty of thought is mentioned in our Constitution, in the preamble itself. So these both of these questions were asked in 2017. Now we are discussing the questions of the previous session. So people who have attended the session should know the answers of these questions. Shiv Kumar also answered it right. The answer is B. Not for this question. I'm asking this question's options. Who was the provisional president of the Constituent Assembly before Dr. Rajendra Prasad took over? Rajendra Prasad was selected as a president of the Constituent Assembly. He was also the first president of India. But before that, there was some provisional president, and he was provisional president on the basis of seniority. What's the answer? Okay, Rahul got it right. The answer is D. Dr. Sachidanand Sinha was the provisional president, and after that we elected Rajendra Prasad as the president of the Constituent Assembly. So the answer is D. Moving forward to the next question. Which one of the following statements best reflect the chief purpose of the Constitution of a country? What is the purpose of a constitution of a country? Now this will need some analysis. You read the options clearly and we'll discuss what is the chief purpose of the constitution of the country. This will require some analysis, guys. Give it a go. And if you want one hint, I'll say that try to eliminate the options. Which one is not the right answer? Try with the elimination process, then you can go for the right answer. And it's okay if you find it tough because it needs some analysis and we are at the very beginning stage. So it is fine if you find this one tough. Okay, Saptarshi has answered it as D. Let's see if this is the right answer. I want others also to join. Reflect the chief purpose of the constitution of a country. Okay, I guess it's a difficult question. Let me proceed with it. We'll work with the options and they will come to the answer. The first option is it determines the objective for the making of necessary laws. So the chief purpose of the constitution can be our constitution reflects the objectives for the making of necessary law. Now we have seen that our preamble was introduced as an objective resolution. So if it's just because of the objectives that we want our constitution, then preamble would have been sufficient. What's the need of making such elaborative articles, schedules, if it's just about the objective? So clearly this is not the right answer. This is the definition of preamble, so we can eliminate this option. Next is, it enables the creation of political offices and a government. Constitution does that, but before our constitution came into existence, we had political offices and a government. So constitution's chief purpose is not to establish political offices and government. So this is not the chief purpose. It does that because it establishes parliament, it establishes various offices, but it is not its chief purpose. Now it defines and limits the power of the government. Constitution does that, and we don't have a clear elimination for this option, so we'll keep it in loop. Let us see if we can eliminate the option D. It secures social justice, social equality, and social security. Now these are the terms which we have seen, but these are the terms which are related to DPSPs, Directive Principles of State Policies. So these are the DPSP, and it's not the chief purpose of our constitution. So the right answer is option C. It defines and limits the powers of the government. The chief purpose of the constitution is option C. Okay, Article 312 answered either C or D. You know, social security schemes is something which we are still implementing. So the chief purpose of constitution couldn't be that. A lot of social security schemes come up for elderlies, for children, for mothers, for women. So social security is the term which could have cracked the answer for you, because we are still working on that. So if that's the chief purpose of the constitution, then this should have been implemented by then. The right answer is option C. So it's a bit analytical question, and we need to be ready for that also. This was asked in the year 2023. Moving forward, now this question is pretty factual. It may look like it's a big question, or it may be a scary question, but give it a go. It's an easy one. This is the last question for the session, and I want everyone to be participating in this one. It's a simple question, and if you don't know the answer to this one, go and watch my previous video on Constituent Assembly. You can solve it through that video. The Constitution Day is celebrated on 26 November every year to promote constitutional values among citizens. Then statement 2 says that on 26 November 1949, the Constituent Assembly set up a drafting committee under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And the options are statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 explains statement 1 correctly. Statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is not the right explanation. Statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect, and the last one is statement 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is correct. What do you think is the answer to this one? Constitution Day is celebrated on 26 November every year. Is it true? Okay, Meenal and Rahul are saying that the option is C. Let's see. See, the Constitution Day is celebrated on 26 November, and we have been celebrating it since the year 2015. So this is right. And option 2 says that on 26 November we established the drafting committee. Now it's a bit stretch, because today only we saw that we accepted our constitution on this date. And if we establish the drafting committee on this date, then that means that constitution hasn't been drafted yet. So the fact here is correct that B.R. Ambedkar was the chairperson of drafting committee, but we established drafting committee way before that. So on 26 November 1949, it's incorrect that we established drafting committee. And there is only one option which says that statement 2 is incorrect, and it is this one. So the right answer for this question is option C. Okay. Little Patnaik also answered it right. The answer is C. So with that, we have come to the end of our session. Hope you find it informative. And we are gonna come up with another interesting session tomorrow. So do join us and do let us know in the comment section if you enjoyed the video. And like, share, subscribe to this channel. Thank you.